plan in this building won't need to be updated, probably for the life of the building.
Which may make LA Unified's average cost of nearly $750,000 per school a little easier to swallow. In Los Angeles, I'm Annie Gilbertson for Marketplace.
And 18% of people in Sweden know someone who has received a bribe. The European Commission report today calls corruption across the EU, quote, breathtaking. While Sweden is worse than average, corruption is a bigger problem in Italy, Romania, and Bulgaria. One newer market is already ridden with corruption. Officials say cheating in the market for carbon credits system that had been designed to help climate change. In New York, I'm David Brunhatch here with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
Support for NPR comes from NPR member stations and from Brigham and Women's Hospital, home to research on how aspirin can prevent heart attacks and other diseases. More at brighamandwomens.org/aspirin. From Netflix, with season 2 of House of Cards, starring Kevin Spacey, Robin Wright, and Kate Mara. All episodes premiere on Friday, February 14th on Netflix. And from Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, boats, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com. This is NPR.
We are broadcasting from Chase Tower in downtown Milwaukee. This is your NPR station, 89.7 WWM, Milwaukee Public Radio. Bob Bach and Ronnie North with you, able to jump in for just a minute here before we get to the latest news from National Public Radio as we continue our on-air membership drive.
And Bob, you just said something very important in there, which was your radio station. And that is what we're trying to do during this membership drive, is to convince you to become part of the equation to support your radio station. If you haven't already done so, if you have, we're hoping that you're going to consider another gift. It's very, very simple. Just go to WUWM.com. That's WUWM.com. You can also call 414-227-3210. You can make your donation in any number of ways, in any number of amounts. It really doesn't matter. What's important is that you basically stand up and be counted. And we need you to do that right now. We are on a mini goal of several $1,000 before. We're there about 2 more hours to try to raise it. We need your help to get there.
That's it, and it's as simple as a phone. 414-227-3210 or WWM.com. It's nice to say good morning to some folks.
Absolutely. We have some people to thank this morning. Tom from Milwaukee, Carol from Milwaukee, and Kimberly from Waukesha all went to WUWM.com, or they called 414-227-3210. Thank you very much for those contributions. They have become part of the equation.
And a part of the community of support we enjoy here at WWM, and it is that support that allows us to continue to provide you with the high-quality programming that you hear each and every day. Shows such as Morning Edition that you're listening to today, of course, or All Things Considered in the afternoon. A whole roster of offerings thanks to your gifts and contributions. 414-227-3210.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Corbin Coleman. At the Super Bowl last night, the Seattle Seahawks dominated the Denver Broncos, defeating them 43-8. Seattle coach Pete Carroll said afterwards his team passed the biggest test of all.
Can we carry our football and do the things that we've been doing all along on this stage with all the scrutiny and everybody saying, oh, you're going to be distracted, you're not old enough, and all that kind of stuff? None of that made any difference at all. These guys totally understood how to do it. They handled it with class and the dignity to them. I think that to take on this challenge with great respect for it, and they did it perfectly.
Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson was elated with his team's performance, saying every Seattle player contributed.
Our whole thing is, stay in attack mode. That's all I kept telling the guys, and that's why we kept scoring. That's why we kept making plays. Percy Harvin had a great night tonight. Our defense, it was great. Special teams, so many guys made so many plays.
The Super Bowl was outdoors at New Jersey's MetLife Stadium. Despite fears of snow and ice, the temperature was about 49 degrees at kickoff. A new study finds abortion rate in the U.S. has hit its lowest level since the Supreme Court legalized the procedure nationally in 1973. NPR's Julie Robner reports analysts say the reason is probably not new state laws limiting abortion access. The abortion rights research group, the Guttmacher Institute, has been conducting a national survey of abortion providers every few years since the 1970s. It found that between 2008 and 2011, both the rate and number of abortions performed in the U.S., slightly over 1 million, fell significantly. But the study's authors
states that did nothing to restrict their access. The authors suggest the poor economy, women working to delay childbearing, and use of more reliable, long-acting contraceptives are more likely responsible for the decline. Julie Rovner, NPR News, Washington.
Iran's foreign minister says his country wants a more permanent agreement with the West on its nuclear program, but he said only if it benefits both sides. NPR's Soraya Sarhadi Nelson says that Iranian officials will meet with 6 world powers in Vienna this month.
Mohammad Javad Zarif told an international security conference in Munich on Sunday that Iran is complying with conditions set during talks last fall for its nuclear program. But he blamed the West for why Iran had to create its own technology in the first place.
I believe it would be a major mistake for our friends to believe that we are here because sanctions have been kept. Those who push for sanctions can claim victory for having added 18,800 centrifuges to Iranian stocks of centrifuges.
Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut told the conference that there won't be any additional sanctions if Iran holds up its end of the deal. Soraya Sarhadi Nelson, NPR News, Berlin.
And you're listening to NPR News from Washington.
You're listening to 89.7 WUWF, Bob and Bonnie World with you on this Monday, February 3rd, a cold start right now. We'll be checking the forecast in just a moment. Morning, Bonnie.
Good morning, Bob. It is great to have your company with us as well. We are in the 3rd day of our winter membership drive, and we need you to become part of the equation. That is what we're trying to do right now, is to, if you haven't done it yet, you're thinking about it, maybe this is the time you'll become a member, particularly talking to people who haven't yet become members of Milwaukee Public Radio. Maybe now is the time to do it. WUWM.com is the web address to go to. You can call 414-227-3210 if you prefer to do that. What's important is that you actually either pick up the phone or go to the computer and make your contribution, become part of the equation, become an active member of Milwaukee Public Radio, or a renewing member if you are already a member. And if you are, thank you so much, because you're the reason that we're able to bring you the news and the programming and the content that you hear. And Bob, there's some interesting station facts. Kim, our development person, put together some interesting things. I didn't even know this. We have produced in the last year 393 news reports. That's us. That's not National Public Radio. We've produced 12 series and 69 national reports, that whether it's from Lake Effect or from the news department going, taking stuff to National Public Radio, it's fantastic. And Lake Effect, we conducted over 1,000 interviews.
That's a lot of voices coming to the air.
That's a lot of voice. That's a lot of content. That is a lot of information and entertainment as well. And we do it because of you.
And it is the community that you are learning more about each time these reports air, whether it's the backgrounding that you get in a given story, going in depth on an issue that you may have some familiarity with, or it's brand new information on something, a subject perhaps that we've not covered before and is being covered for the very first time, or an ongoing story. Whatever the best description of the material that's being presented, it's in-depth coverage that helps in so many ways to make for an informed citizenry and really a community right here in Milwaukee, all because of your generous support. 414-227-3210 or WUWM.com. We'd love to hear from you. Either way, that is most convenient.
Hi, I'm Robert Krulwich.
And I'm Chad Appelrod.
Both of us from Radio Lab, and we have been told that the act of giving...
For example, giving money to a radio station who you like.
Right, you're saying, here, I want to help you. Well, neuroscientists say that very often when you help others, your body gives you a kind of hug.
By releasing, among other things, a hormone called oxytocin. A hormone associated with being in love and nuddling and tickling and cuddling.
It's a hormone that makes you feel good all over.
Yes, and if you choose to pledge right now, in addition to knowing you're helping to make great radio happen,
just possibly you will release a flood of oxytocin.
And that will make you feel really, really good.
Yeah.
You want to feel good today? Here's the number to call.
That's 414-227-3210. Again, 414-227-3210. You can also, I think you'll get the oxytocin if you go to the website too. Though.
I think so,
I
too.
think so.
Yeah. Just comes right on
WUWM.com.
through.
And who couldn't use more oxytocin in the morning?
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah.
You know, whether it is a morning commute or quiet lunchtime moments, settling in for the evening, whatever it is, we like to think of it as the public radio experience of WUWM. Transports listeners to a space where it's easy to reflect or understand and gain greater knowledge. So here 24 hours a day, WUWM at your service, thanks to your generous support. Think about making that gift or contribution today, would you, during our membership drive, 414-227-3210 or WUWM.com/give.
Join Danelle and Michael from Glendale, Gwen and Renee from Grafton, and Kara and Trenton from Caledonia, who all made a contribution this morning. Thank you very much for your generous support. We hope to hear from you. 414-227-3210, WUWM.com/give. It doesn't matter how much. What matters is that you make the call or you go to the website.
Early to mostly sunny today with a high of 20 and light winds. Tonight, cloudy and cold, lows ranging from 5 to 9 above zero. And tomorrow, light to moderate snow developing in the afternoon. May even do some shoveling before the day is over with a high of 22. It is 2 degrees right now in Milwaukee and 3 below in Racine.
You're listening to WUWM, supported by the UWM School of Continuing Education and their non-credit business and management programs. Whether just getting started or looking for a refresher to be successful in today's changing workplace, UWM certificate programs in business and management help add critical skills for career advancement. More information at sce-business.uwm.edu.
Support for NPR comes from the Pew Charitable Trusts, driven by the power of knowledge to solve today's most challenging problems. More at pewtrust.org.
It's Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Steve Inskeep.
And I'm Renee Montaigne. The Super Bowl was supposed to pit the best offense in pro football against the best defense. Turned out the dominant offense and defense were both on the same team. The final score was Seattle 43, Denver 8. NPR's Mike Pesca reports on the game that was played between last night's commercials.
Here's a theory. Denver doesn't understand the concept of the point spread. Word was out that they were -2 versus the Seahawks. So on the first snap of the game, they did this. That safety, as described by Fox's Joe Buck, put the Broncos down 2 and was the start of a disastrous night for a Denver offense that had scored more points than any other team in NFL history. As it happened, last night they became only the second Super Bowl team in the last 30 years not to reach double digits. Though, after falling behind by 15 points, Denver's Peyton Manning executed a series of crisp passes into Seahawks territory. But on the 16th play of the drive, defensive end Cliff Averill penetrated. He later described what happened next.
Well, for me, it was, I was trying to get a sack fumble, the target does every week. And, he had a lot on it, so it went past a lot of scrimmage, and Malcolm caught the ball. And I looked back, I ended up blocking Peyton on the play, actually.
And Malcolm is Malcolm Smith, who picks up the description of the play.
Cliff got his hand on the quarterback, and the ball just kind of came out high. I was able to run underneath it. I was breaking on the running back, and I just went up and caught it. Got good blocks from my teammates, and we just partied in the end zone.
Smith will be partying while clutching the MVP trophy. Seattle simply shut down Peyton Manning, a player who, up to this point, had been able to diagnose and take advantages of the weakness of every defense he faced. After the game, cornerback Richard Sherman said his Seahawks didn't actually outthink Peyton to win the mental game. They just didn't have many weaknesses to exploit.
A lot of times guys get too infatuated with trying to change things, trying to disguise and trying to play his game.